Hello, welcome to our devotional time here at Temple Baptist Church in Poplar, Bluff, Missouri. Today we're going to be in the book of Exodus. We're going to be in chapter 14 and verse 12. And again, we may be just pulling a verse out of the rest of the chapter. And I encourage you to go back and read some of those verses preceding, some after. But rather than take away our time from that, I'm just going to use this verse. And is this not the words that we told you in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than we should die in the wilderness. You know, people sometimes, and I think I've done it, and maybe you have too, make the terrible mistake of thinking that they know better than God. We try to be God, don't we? And that's not going to work out. You know, we plan, we arrange, we micromanage, and construct life to fit what we feel is our needs. But when plans don't go their way, it can send us into orbit, can't it? It can, forgetting that God is the great architect of life. He has it all planned out from the beginning anyway. He has it all planned out. Here the Hebrews, whom God had delivered from slavery, under the oppression of the Egyptians, dared to say they would have rather stayed in slavery in Egypt than to be free in the wilderness with God. They just couldn't adjust their lives to God's plan and be free in Him. So they wandered in the wilderness, not only physically, but also mentally and spiritually. They couldn't grasp that God had it all figured out, even though they didn't. They didn't have it figured out, but God did. I don't have it figured out, but God does. Sometimes I think I do, but I do not have. And so, he wondered and pondered on, they graciously, their gracious and merciful God had given them lots of time to wonder and ponder His plan. 40 years wandering in the wilderness, that's a lot of time, isn't it, to ponder that. And, instead of questioning God's plan, which we do, and I know that's a human tendency, we question God's plan, we need to just learn to go with it and trust. Go with it and trust, Him to arrange our life. Follow Him. Don't be enslaved by the past, present, or future. God can use any wilderness as a pathway to know Him better. Trials and tribulations that come our way are a part of life, but they are also a part that helps us understand God better. Don't be wandering in the wilderness of your life when it comes to God. Thank you for being with us today. We invite you to be at our services at Temple. We meet on Sunday mornings for our first service at 8 o'clock. Then we have our Sunday school classes beginning at 9. Then our second worship service Sunday morning at 10. Then Sunday nights at 6 and Wednesday nights at 7. May God bless you is our prayer.